In a world where tomorrow's blockbusters reign,
three millennials look back on our generation's classics.
On our generation's classics.
And remember. Hey everyone, welcome to Millennials the Movie House, the podcast where three friends watch our generation's beloved movies of yesterday and review them from our modern adult perspective. I'm Betsy.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Serena.
And today we are reviewing Toy Story.
Yes.
To infinity and beyond.
Wow, same laugh and everything, guys. 1995, directed by John Lasseter. Written
1995. Can you? 95. I can't.
I know, it's so old. It's
That's
20.
crazy.
What is that? 27 years old.
I feel like it's been around forever, and yet it's brand new. Sorry,
right.
Continue.
Original story by John Lasseter, Pete Docter, Andrew Stanton, and Joe Ranft.
Sure.
It's a hard one. Screenplay by Joss Whedon, Andrew Stanton, Joel Cohen, and Alec Sokolow. Starring Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, and a ton of other people.
So many other people.
Name because those are the two main characters. Really.
Yeah.
But it is such an all-star cast and a millennial all-star cast.
Yes. Can we talk about Sid?
Oh my god.
I know.
I
forgot Eric Von Detten.
Eric Von Detten.
That's
I didn't fully register that until this time around, and it's only because after we watched the god awful movie that is Get a Clue, I was like, I need to like do a refresher like of a good DCOM, and so I watched Brink, which is arguably one of the best DCOMs.
Absolutely.
All I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I had Eric Von Detten in my brain. I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Which is funny because I feel like it's funny that he was the villain.
Yes.
I feel like they try to get like the heartthrobs to be like the good guy.
Well, I mean, if you think about Tom Hanks in 1995, kind of was the heartthrob for mainstream. I mean,
that's
he
fair.
was.
I'm sorry. Yes, you are right.
If you're thinking like he was in his rom-com phase.
He was. I think I read somewhere that he was it like took many years to make this.
Yeah.
And he would only record lines while he was doing a happy movie.
Oh,
so I think it was you've got mail, maybe, or maybe no, sorry, that was later. It was Sleepless in Seattle.
Yep.
And some other rom-com he did. And then he also did Philadelphia and some other sad movie.
Yeah.
And he refused to record lines because he had to be like in his head or something.
That's fair.
Crazy.
That's fair. Like he's a proper actor. Like I'm sure that he lets the roles get to him, and so he needs to. That makes sense to me. Totally makes sense to me. And then we even have our return of Tim Allen and from our beloved Galaxy Quest.
Yeah,
dude. And I was laughing about that because as I was thinking Galaxy Quest, and then I was thinking Buzz Lightyear and his galactic, planet, etc. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, something's going on here. I'm having a moment, an outstanding moment in my brain.
I didn't find this in any of my little research that I did, but for some reason, I remember somebody saying that they had like auditioned for each other's part. I don't think that's right because there was no other way that. I mean, they were built to play those two parts.
Yeah, who knows? Honestly, who knows what the process was? I mean, they may have cast them first and then written, the characters, fleshed out the characters or whatever.
Yeah.
But all right. Anyway, quick synopsis. Serena, go.
I was waiting. I'm like, are they gonna forget about me? Because I'm okay with that.
I saw like a big grin on your face. I'm like, nope, gonna take her back down from that.
So, you guys, Toy Story, classic. Apparently the first of its kind in its time, right? The first, and this is a weird time, you guys. I was reading this, and I think I sent you the first Pixar and the most recent Pixar is Toy Story, and the newest Toy Story. And I'm like, okay. How many times in our lifetime are we going to be able to say that? I mean, I guess next time they make another Toy Story.
I was going to say Toy Story is such a mega franchise at this point that we can probably say that relatively often.
God, all right. I have so much to say, but I'm just going to try and synopsisize this. So, okay. The toys are alive.
The toys are alive.
The toys are alive.
It's a children's movie, not a horror movie, Serena.
It is, but it's a little bit of both. Oh my God.
Creepy.
I forgot how much
scary.
I forgot forgot how much I love this movie. So Andy is a kid, right? That's his name.
Mhm.
Yep.
And he has a bunch of toys, and well, they all are alive when the adults and humans are out of the way. The toys will play and they come to life. And Andy has a favorite toy, which is I'm blanking. What's his name?
Woody.
Sheriff Woody.
Yep, Sheriff Woody. I'm like, what's his name? He is his favorite toy. And every Christmas or birthday party, you know, kids get new toys, etc. And you know, they want to make sure that they're not one-upped, and he wants to remain the favorite. Well, fast forward, Buzz Lightyear comes into a birthday present. Buzz Lightyear is this awesome, amazing toy that his wings flick out and he can fly, and he has all these laser pointing things, and you know, the new and improved, right? And so you know, Woody gets a little bit jealous because Andy's spending more attention, etc. I don't know exactly. Basically, Andy and his family are moving. The toys are all like, you know, planning on that. And in the midst of all that backstory is, you know, Woody and Buzz, like Woody versus Buzz, like who's going to be the most, you know, favorite toy. And whatever, they have some chaos ensues. They ended up fighting. He threw Buzz out the window. They got lost, whatever. They ended up on a crazy mission, ended up back at Sid's house, the next door neighbor, which, guys, I forgot about Sid, by the way. Psycho.
Talk about, like, yeah, seriously.
I'm like, excuse me, serial killer next door. How are you?
But the killer is that, like, if he had, you know, been properly raised, he was actually like really smart. He had an engineering mind. He was like really creative with how he restructured anyway.
I didn't see parents anywhere at Sid's house.
There was
a foot and a footrest in a chair, but there was no parental guidance. Anyway, Sid's like a whole nother story of itself. But yeah, so anyways, whatever. They make this big mission. Finally, Woody and Buzz come together. They work together. They work things out. They can only get back to Andy and his family in time before the move if they work together. And they both come to that realization. And, you know, they realize they can both be favorite toys, right? They did these crazy things, lots of stunts, this and that. And they ended up happy ending, you guys. They literally Buzz Lightyear and to infinity and beyond out of a rocket into the sky and into the car and boom, right into the toy box, and all was well again. And yeah, and then there's like 5 more movies after this that we don't know about. So
all right, great, good job.
Yeah.
Getting to end, man.
Well, I mean, I have more to say, but I'm like, how do I crunch this into a little under 5 minutes skit?
I got you. That's fair. So I think it's safe to say that the 3 of us have seen this movie many a time throughout our lives. All of us experienced this as kids. I'm sure I was 7. I was 7 when this came out. So I may not have watched it when it immediately came out, but not too far after, probably.
You guys, when I first watched this was way back when it came out, late.
I
probably late 90s. I didn't like it.
Might want to say that I saw it in theaters with my brother.
Yeah,
maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would believe that.
But this is like the first Pixar movie. This was like a
deal.
It was a big deal. It was
yeah.
a totally different
Can I
type
give
of cartoon.
a very brief, might be incorrect. So if you really want to know this stuff, please go fact check me. But this is like an overview of Pixar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, like a couple sentences.
Go.
So Pixar was called something else. It had some other name that I could have written down, but I didn't. So we'll just say it was called something else. And it started in 1974 in computer animation.
Yep.
In 1979, Lucasfilms, it was like was the parent company. So it was the animation of Lucasfilms.
Yep.
In 1985, Steve Jobs was actually fired from Apple.
Yep.
What?
And became the like the head dude of Pixar.
I've heard this before, Tree, actually.
And
I think you're
then and then of course was obviously hired back by Apple or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in 2006, Disney bought Pixar.
Right.
And then in 2012, they bought Lucasfilms.
Right. Because
Oh.
Disney just buys everything.
Buys
and owns
everything,
You guys, that is so crazy. I actually read that somewhere. I was reading like one of those kid biography books of Steve Jobs, and that random short time that he spent with Pixar was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
I did know something about Steve Jobs and George Lucas. Like there was something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, so they started in 1970. Like I said, the original company was 1974,
Mhm.
and it wasn't until 1995 that it was a first feature. They had made shorts, and I think they had like animation in, I want to say
Right.
video games.
Right. There's a lot of different things that an animation studio can be working on,
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I'm not surprised that before this, animation was still hand drawn.
Yeah.
Computer technology wasn't at that stage. So yeah, unless it was probably, just integrated into, it was special effects, unless it was integrated into another show, into another movie or show.
Yep.
And then Toy Story happened.
And really has has changed the way, the industry basically.
Can you imagine, like, this movie started this whole, like you said, like it started a whole other industry within the movie industry.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if this movie had been a flop?
Oh, I know. I know. And they had put a lot of money and everything into it too. Yeah.
So, okay. I appreciate that synopsis as well.
I had a thought, and I'm thinking that part of the reason that it did so well is what we always talk about, is the nostalgia factor.
Yes.
So like
absolutely.
The plot was very simple, very there was, but all of a sudden you're like, I had Mr. Potato Head.
Yes. It was classic toys. It may not, they couldn't do just a Slinky because Slinky couldn't be made, anthropomorphized, but they had a Slinky dog or, and then Mr. Potato Head, and everyone had like a plastic T-Rex that could barely move its arms. And and even the microphone radio, is that in this one, or is that the second one? Yep. Just all
I had that.
Yeah. Oh, and the Speak and Spell.
Oh, yep.
I was just that too. Yep. The
classic toys. Yeah. So they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a few things before we jump into the regular questions.
Okay.
First topic of conversation, I would like to discuss the psychological impact on our generation in terms of the tendency to anthropomorphize and add emotion or sentience.
Look at my biggest note.
Inanimate objects. Yeah.
The biggest word across my entire note is anthropomorphism.
Yep. I think this movie really impacted our generation as a whole more than arguably any other movie.
Yes.
Because we are an entire generation that we add
seed of thought.
We assign sentience to inanimate objects like
everything.
Nobody else does. Nobody else does. And it's because of Toy Story.
Yep.
Yep.
I think you watched Community, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the scene where Jeff is like, I can say that this pencil's name is Steve, and when I do this and break it, you're going to be mad about it.
Yes. Yeah.
It definitely effed me up.
Yep. Yeah. Oh,
Even though I actually have memories of doing that anyway. Everybody plays balls and stuff.
As a kid, everybody does that. Yeah. Definitely. Especially your toys. You play imagination and you have a sentimental attachment to certain toys. But I don't think it grew, before this movie, I don't think you grew up with that and kept that need to oh, this soda has a personality or whatever, it's.
I want to say it's because it was never globally understood or globally shared, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the example I'm thinking of right now, one of the most popular movies in theaters right now is Marcel the Shell.
Yeah.
And, it's a shell, but you put little googly eyes on it and have a voice for it. And it is the most darling thing ever.
Yeah.
That was my primary comment. I needed to start the show.
No, it was good. It was good.
This movie really, really did a number on our generation.
I'm glad you did, because I was going to bring it up too.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, I feel like this was early days for a kids movie with adult moments or jokes for adults.
Mm-hmm.
I think regardless of whether or not you grew up with this movie, adults can enjoy this movie just as much as kids for different reasons.
I actually was going to say something about that, you guys. I enjoyed it more as a 30-something-year-old than I think I did as a youngling. I didn't remember. I mean, even the opening scene, he's like, this is a stick up. I'm like, why is this so funny? Why? I'm like, this is so funny. And I don't remember enjoying it as much as I did when I was younger. For some reason, I never really took to the movie. It wasn't one of those like, Lion King or something where I could watch 100 times over again. But now I'm like, I'll watch the second, third, fourth, and whatever the fifth one that's out.
Well, they have a bunch of shorts now too.
Yeah. Well, it
was just like the funny humor
where the plot is simple and the toys are fun, so it entertains the kids. But the actual dialogue, it's not inappropriate humor. It's like just like the adult, like the I feel like the most famous one is when
Buzz is drunk.
Mr. Potato Head goes over to gosh, what's the pig's name?
The pig's name.
Ham.
Hammy.
I just wrote down that quote because
I think that was because I feel like that's pertinent. And he goes, look, I'm Picasso. And he's like, I don't get it. And he's like, you uncultured swine. And of course, it's like everything's all in misplaced and stuff. Kids don't understand what that is, but that's a chuckle for everybody else who gets it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was so pleasantly surprised. I was so tired last night and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to stay awake from this movie, but I gotta watch it. And I was pleasantly surprised at how it had me laughing. It flew by. The pacing it felt quick. It felt quicker than an hour and 24 or whatever it was. Or was it an hour 24 actually?
It was short. It was one of the shortest. It's one of the Pixar's, I think the shortest of their Pixar movies.
Maybe that's what it was, is that I was expecting it to be like a 2-hour movie.
It's very well paced.
But it was well paced. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't ever remember it being this funny. I don't remember it being this funny and enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, and Tom Hanks and Tim Allen have really good chemistry. They work off each other really, really well.
And they're like voices. Like if you guys ever watched, what was it? Tool. What was that? Tool Time.
Home Improvement.
Yeah. Home Improvement. That voice, Tim Allen's voice.
Yeah.
Is just like, and Tom Hanks. Honestly, they're like a household voice.
They really are.
Yeah, they are.
Even though we didn't see them.
Speaking of Tool Time, in Sid's room, the toolbox has a sticker from Tool Time or something.
Oh, does
it? Oh my God, really?
That's clever.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, that's classic Pixar, is dropping, little Easter eggs everywhere.
I think Easter the eggs. Most adult joke that was made was one of Sid's toys was a fishing line.
It was a hooker.
with legs, and it was like sexy legs.
Yeah.
And the name of it was a hooker.
Yep. But again, you're not going to catch that if you're a kid. You're only going to catch that if you're an adult.
Right.
I will say, the more I watch it as an adult, the more the whole franchise, really, all of the movies stress me out, actually, because they all have very, very strong ticking clocks. So they have to get home before they move. Exactly. That stresses me out every time I watch this movie. I'm tense watching it.
It's like that underlying backstory that you're definitely vividly aware of, but you're also like in this other current story of them, trying to get away from Sid and free, right?
Right. Exactly. Yep.
I don't remember seeing 2, 3, 4 or the current, which I think is just Infinity and Beyond or something.
I want to say it was during COVID time, so it was in the last 2 years. I did a marathon of all 4 movies because I had never seen. I don't think I ever saw the third or fourth one.
I was going to say 2 was solid. 3 was just.
But
everybody loved 3.
I had heard really good things about 4, so I was like, all right, well, I want to watch the first 3 and then go to 4. So I'm really happy I did, because 4 was really solid and it did the storyline that you wanted, Tracy.
I know. I was going to say, I actually didn't really like 4. But my main complaint through the whole of Toy Story was poor Bo. Yep. So I'm glad that was resolved. So
I actually loved Forky because I really love Tony Hale. Yeah. Oh my God. I think he's hilarious.
He kind of not him, the fork or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of like freaked me out a little bit. Yeah, creepy.
Forky.
observation. So the toys that Sid makes, quotation marks, once he's done making them, they're still functional.
Yes.
But they never talk.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Which one? Say that again.
Yes.
So all of Sid's toys don't talk.
Oh, yeah, they're mute, probably from fear and abuse.
Well, I think it's just like they're not complete. They're not like,
Right.
I think it's aesthetically a choice there.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Island of Misfit Toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those movies where I kind of have to stop myself from thinking through the world building too much because it could fall apart a little. But I'm okay with it. All right, well, let's jump into our favorite parts since we're starting to get into the details. So what was everyone's favorite part?
My favorite
Wait,
part.
sorry, do you remember having a favorite part as a kid, and did it change for adulthood?
Ooh. No, I think mine stayed the same.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really have anything to do with like the plot or anything. I like the very beginning when they show him playing. Like,
Yes.
it was very elaborate pretend. Like he had lots of things set up. How they all could live in the same world as one another, and like one was the bad guy, and I don't know. I like that whole world.
And coming from a professional childcare provider, that's really how kids play. I have like listened in on the girls playing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, these kids have imagination.
Yeah.
Like, how do they think this up?
It's kind of fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
Kids
It's entertaining too.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that scene too, Trey. I like the opening scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really, it had me hooked in right away. I was like tired and sleepy. And then that scene started. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I like this movie.
I think it was that, and just the relatable toys. Like those were toys that you had. Like that
Right.
was.
And at this point, those were literally toys we grew up with.
Right. Yeah.
Like those, like we, you
Those
could have had
specifically.
Woody, you could have had Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, yes. My brother had Woody, Buzz. He had the race car that was actually a race car.
Oh,
Dude,
Yeah.
I never felt like fully satisfied with that because I just wanted them to come to life like in the movie. Like I never felt satisfied with just having the toys.
Well, if you had a Furby, they could have
Oh.
come to life.
Furbies are creepy as ever.
Yeah, they are.
Was that your
That was my
that
favorite
your-
part.
That was your favorite part? Okay, great favorite. I agree. I have a favorite part, and I don't want to. Hopefully, I'm not stealing Betsy's, but
I'm still trying to come up
you
with
guys,
one,
the
honestly.
scene. Can we just like take a moment to like laugh about the scene? Buzz being drunk.
Oh my god,
This
And,
is
like,
Nesmith.
it does crack me up every time. He gets
I
drunk off of
literally
tea.
was
Oh, that's
Dying.
genius.
I was dying, you guys. I was like half like dozy, very tired, cough medicine, etc. And I literally was like, this is hilarious. And then Woody calls with the mom's voice, and I'm like, why is this so funny?
Yeah.
I never took it as drunk. That's really funny that you both took it as drunk. I always took it as like a mental breakdown.
Which is fair.
It probably was what my thought was as a kid. Was
Yes.
he's just having an existential
Same.
crisis.
Same.
But for some reason, I'm like, no, it's funny. It's really funny.
It was only until I was, it wasn't until I was an adult that I registered that it was probably he was pretending to be drunk, because even Woody pulls it and he's like,
takes the mug away.
Tea.
Yeah.
Like, so yep, that's an undervalued moment in the movie. So
I was dying.
This is Marie
I was
Antoinette
dying.
and her little sister. Because they both had their heads chopped off.
Yep, of course. I'm trying to come up with a favorite part, because I gotta say, like, I know we keep talking about how we've all seen this movie many times. This is actually not a favorite movie of mine. It's not like, it doesn't have I don't have a strong emotional connection to it, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a whatever,
Yeah, kind of the same. Like I remember it and I like the nostalgia, but it wasn't like, let's watch this again.
Right.
That's how I felt when it first came out. I was like, I could take it or leave it. And now I'm like, I want to watch the second through the fifth.
And do
like-
it. I mean, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But it kind of, when I did the marathon and ran through 1 through 4, I got to 4 and I was like, all right, that was good, I'm done. That was
Yep.
It was
And like
enjoyable.
maybe
Watch this
not
again.
need to watch it again, right?
no, yeah.
Oh, once is enough. I mean, the memories are in our little vaults for later.
I think my favorite part was the Randy Newman music. Honestly, I mean, he had a moment there,
He
a
did.
mainstream moment with
It
Toy
was-
Story.
It was perfectly matched with the spirit and the like the feeling of the movie.
That is exactly correct. Yes, absolutely.
All I can think of course, is Family Guy making fun of it,
Yeah.
but
Love
it really is like a.
Stuff.
It just matched everything.
It did. It
Yeah.
did. And he, I mean, I feel like he toned his lyrics down for the movie. It's actually a very happy song. Like he does very like, sarcastic songs generally.
Yeah,
But this was the stars aligned for this moment.
yeah.
You
And
guys,
you've got in front of me is one of the great movie theme songs,
Yeah.
of our generation.
I'm looking through. He really did like all of the songs. There's even some Randy Newman in Monsters, which another Pixar movie, which I like. I didn't realize that he was the main music guy. I love that song. I was like singing along loudly at 9:30 at night.
Well, understandably so. So yeah, I think he did his job and it was great. As a kid, I actually think my favorite parts, it's similar to yours, Trey. My favorite parts are the other toys
Yeah.
and how they all interact when Andy isn't there.
Yeah.
So not the imagination of Andy playing, but all
How
the different
they
personalities of all the different,
Yeah.
because I remember feeling for the T-Rex and being a little intimidated by Mr. Potato Head and loving him. He was,
Hammy.
you could tell he would take care of you. He was a nice guy. So yeah, I remember enjoying those parts.
Is there anything you noticed this time that you didn't before? Or like as an adult? Like was there anything that you
Just the adult humor, in my opinion.
just the adult humor?
Like funny little like under the like off the cusp comments and little nuggets that were for the adults, for the parents or whoever.
I haven't watched this movie. I have watched it since like it came out or whatever, since I was a kid, but I was paying attention to this where before it was like I would just be on and I'd be like, okay. So in the house that they're in, because they're in the process of moving, there is only one bedroom for the children. They share it.
I can't believe you said that because I had that moment this time
I
around.
didn't
And
notice that.
all of a
God.
sudden, everything made
Baby
sense.
is in there too. That's
The
why
baby's in there too.
That's why she's playing with Mr. Potato Head. That's why Bo is in the same room as her. Oh my god.
Oh,
Okay,
mind blown.
so
Mind blown.
I'm
people.
not one to gatekeep toys. You do you. But I think it was either in later. Now I'm mixing movies because Bo isn't in 2. So at the end of this movie, you see her walking down the hall into Molly's room.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, because for some reason I didn't connect that they moved and now they have different bedrooms.
Right.
I was like, they're getting anyway, the epiphany of that I was like,
made sense.
it all made sense
Because I
was
know
like,
that your biggest issue was where did Bo go
yep,
in 2 and 3?
Yep.
And we needed to have a wrap up for her,
Yep.
which we got in 4.
Okay.
I got you. I got you.
Thank you for bringing that up. I guess I didn't really realize, but I do remember the baby being in the room.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. I
never registered it.
I just thought it was like a different shot or something, or
well, and then it wasn't until like there's a moment where Buzz and Woody are both on the bed and you can see the crib in the background. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, that's Molly's crib.
yep, I was paying attention for it this time because I was like, hold on.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait.
Ugh. I'm sure everybody knows this fun fact about Bo. The reason why it's Bo Peep instead of Barbie is because Mattel didn't want. They thought that this was going to be a failure, and they didn't want it attached to Barbie.
Mhm.
That is also why they have Combat Carl and not GI Joe, because
Mhm.
Hasbro also didn't want to be a part of this. This
Which
reminds me of,
I'm totally okay with, because like I never had the name brand stuff. I always had the knockoffs.
That's true. You know, that's fair. Which it reminds me of E.T., which we should add that
I think
movie.
it's on
I'd say.
the list. Yeah.
They wanted originally to have M&Ms, and
Oh,
M&Ms
that's right.
wouldn't want to be part of this movie, and they got Reese's Pieces. And there, after this movie, Reese's Pieces,
oh my god,
it skyrocketed.
Oh my god, yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Missed out, man.
Yeah. Also a fun fact, because I do love Bo Peep, is that the reason they made her Bo Peep is because Hans Christian Andersen has a fairy tale called The Shepherdess and the Sweep, and it's a fairy tale about toys coming to life.
Oh, I love that. Oh my god, that's interesting. Did you read the fairy tale?
I didn't know. I'm gonna have to find it though.
Yeah, we'll track that down. Oh, I love that. That's cute. I think those are all my notes, actually, believe it or not. I know that was really, really, really quick, but I feel like the thing with Toy Story is everybody talks about this movie so much that it's hard to say something new about it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's an awesome movie. I gotta say, I mean, from the animation standpoint, I always will forever love Pixar animation.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because there was the nostalgia. Of course, that's a huge factor for me. The adult humor, something for the elderly folk to enjoy. That's not just about the animation, the kids and all that. I don't know. There's something about it that just, I would watch it again, like as like a comfort movie, you know?
Yeah. I think that the thing that made this successful was there were things in animation that they hadn't and still to this day haven't perfected. Yep. And the way they directed the movie, they avoided things. So like you didn't really see too much of the humans because they were clearly cartoons. But when you looked at the toy, it looked like the toy, like you could grab it. But like specifically, they were not very good at hair. Mm-hmm. So both Andy and Molly had short hair. And whenever you saw the mom, she had a ponytail.
Yeah. Oh, right.
There were parts where they weren't good at water. So there was a part where I think Woody gets wet, or it's implied that he gets splashed on, but it's just implied. The camera like pans away. So the reason why it's still valid today is because it knew its strengths, it knew its weaknesses, and it shot it to the best of its ability. And you can see the progression of that to what we have today, where is just
current day Pixar. You mean like the newest Toy Story?
Any current day computer animation is just, you could reach out and touch.
But in 1995, this was pretty dang ahead of its time at that time. Like, it was the best that we had yet. So
and honestly, it holds up. It does.
But because they were smart about it. And they were
very smart.
It's the same argument as Jurassic Park. They knew their strengths, they knew their weaknesses, they knew where and when to use CGI and when not to, because CGI was not where it needed to be.
Blue.
That is so off topic. Okay. Martini Shot, would you recommend this movie?
Yes, of course.
Of course. I mean, who hasn't seen this movie?
Exactly. Honestly, yeah.
But you guys, when I went in to sit down and watch it last night, I was expecting full-blown remembering, and I felt like I was watching it for the first time almost. I felt like,
because you remember characters, you remember moments from this movie, but the movie as a whole, it doesn't stick the way other children's movies do,
which is so weird, right? It's almost like, okay, I forgot all about Sid, I forgot about the moving thing, like the whole end scene with the race car and like I forgot all of that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, for that reason alone, I would recommend this even to people who think, I've seen it once and I'm over it. You know, that might have been 25 years ago, right?
Yeah. Honestly, like this would be a fun marathon of the movies every, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. We'll go with that.
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm interested in watching the next few movies that are out. I mean, I have the access, you know.
Do it.
Why not? Yeah. And it's like a light, it's funny, it's not too heavy and stressful. Like some of the shows I've been watching, I'm just like, all right, can we give it a rest?
Yeah,
with the stress. Like
there-
I need a
a
stress-free
lot of
outlet.
movies, I guess a lot of movies and shows out there right now are very stressful. They're dark, or they're just and
Yeah.
sometimes you just need some light and airy. Like I'm doing a rewatch
Right.
on Schitt's Creek right now because I'm like, you know what, I
I
just
started
need
that the
light
other
and
day.
airy. I mean, if we're on this topic already, what other movies and shows would you recommend?
I am watching, well, if you know me at all, you know that I am a sucker for Hallmark movies.
What?
Rom-com?
And what's better than a
What?
Hallmark movie than like a Hallmark like TV show?
Oh yeah.
So Virgin River season 4
Oh
is
my
back on
God.
Netflix.
I literally almost said Virgin River. I almost said Virgin River because that showed up. It populated on Netflix,
Yep.
and Jenny,
I'm
I
all
think, was
for it.
watching it. And have you mentioned this before? Or did I just imagine that?
No, she's
mean,
mentioned it
I've-
before.
Okay. Yeah. It literally is the Hallmark TV show.
All right.
Yeah.
It's our favorite time of the evening.
Martini shot. Oh wait,
No,
did we do our martini shot?
Yes, we all said yes.
We all
Where
said
was
yes.
I?
You said yes.
Said yes.
Okay. Yes. I think I do remember this now. Never mind. All right.
Oh, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, I do love that
That's
movie.
an old school. That's an
I
old
I was
do like
thinking
that.
about that movie the other day. Why was I thinking about that
Yeah.
movie?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
I was
love
too,
it.
actually. I think there was an actor who was in it that was in something else I was watching.
I think I was thinking of it because of the this is going to be the reason I was thinking of this is because of the new space pictures we have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And
my mom
they
is
started
obsessed
talking
right
about
now.
like time, and then they started talking about like the beginning of the world, and then I started thinking of like, well, where did the Big Bang start? And then I
Yep.
started reading of this like physics for dummies type book, and then it started talking about how like dinosaurs were big or small, and then I was like, oh, big and small.
She really
All
went deep with this.
Yeah, I went deep, and then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, obviously. Oh, I know. Here's it was big and small, and then somebody was like the whole of the universe was in a tight little tiny little thing, and then exploded all this matter, and it had something to do with quarks. And of course, Quarks is the name of the dog.
Wow.
And Honey, I Shrunk
Okay,
That is-
Tracy, the connections you make and the full roundabout here is why we're friends.
That
Because this is
beautiful.
how my brain works as well. It makes this crazy giant full circle loop, and it all comes back to a point. I just looked it up, 1989.
Yep.
Didn't realize it was that old. I
Yep.
thought it was mid 90s, maybe 93 or 4.
Nope.
Wow. All right,
Yeah,
it's
I-
like comedy.
Once you
Funny.
start watching it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
89.
Yeah, I haven't
It was-
seen that movie in ages. This is another one. This is when I watched Toy Story. I was watching things like this as well.
It was 89, so I was 4. But I want to say we watched it on syndication.
Absolutely. Yep. I think I had it on VHS.
Yeah,
Yeah, taped off of TV. So it was still the TV version.
actually, no, you know what? I think I might have had an actual VHS. I know.
Okay, listen. So you know how like as a kid you hated having to tape it off the TV because either you were lazy and you kept the commercials, or you had to like be on your game and like stop and then hit record again when
Yeah.
it was time to record again. As an adult, I wish I still had the VHSs of them taped off the TV because I would love to see the commercials.
So my brother has vigilantly kept this tape that we had for Christmas that my mother had taped off the TV for all like the Christmas specials.
Yep.
Vigilantly,
Yep.
to a point
Dude,
where it
Christmas
broke.
special, mate.
The tape broke. He literally took it apart, taped it all back together, and put it back in like another VHS like tape.
Wow.
So I think it says Die Hard. It's not Die Hard. It is 1990s taped off the television. And part of the fun are these old ass commercials that
Yeah.
are just
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you hear, you can find more great episodes over on our website, www.millennialsthemoviehouse.com, or wherever you find your podcasts. Curious about updates, extras from our episodes, or want to add your 2 cents about a reviewed movie? We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle for both is @themoviemillies. Check us out and make sure to follow us. So until next time,
We're millennials.
And we'll see you at the movie house.